I realized that I had to do something. You know, I had to do something a little bit different. And so let me tell you where I started, because you may be at a very similar place. Where I started was I didn't know anybody. I hadn't met anybody. Okay, so I'd been to a few meetings and I've collected a few business cards. Quick show of hands. Has anybody here ever been to a meeting and collected a business card?
Oh, never, never.
Never. Well, I see that Kelly has. Even though, and Lynn says no. No, never. Well, in the beginning, I had a stack of business cards and I didn't really know what to do. So I counted them because I thought, well, that's a thing, isn't it? And as it turns out, I had 63 business cards that I had collected over the years. And I imagine that you have some business cards too. But you know what's really interesting is these days, I mean, back then I started with business cards, but I have a quick little spoiler alert for the completely online sort of networking. Where else do you have business cards, maybe electronic, that you can look at? Anybody? Okay, so I have stumped the crowd. Lynn, you wanted to say?
I would say any of your social media friends list, contact lists.
Exactly. And I think one of the very best is going to be your LinkedIn. So even if you haven't got a single business card, which I don't believe, you probably have LinkedIn, and you can use this process starting with your connections and contacts on LinkedIn. Kind of sexy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So here is what I had some business cards and I thought, what am I going to do? So well, I thought, well, I should go networking. And then I realized the purpose of networking was to meet these people, to connect with them, and to see how I could serve, share, and support them. And so I was already kind of at the second place. And I thought, well, okay, so that means I probably have to do something with these business cards, or if you want to do totally electronic, with my connections on LinkedIn. And so what could I possibly do? Well, I had a eureka moment. What I realized is that the reason I wanted to network in the first place was to meet people, which I'd already met, as evidenced by these business cards, or with whom I have connected, as evidenced by my connections on LinkedIn and maybe even Facebook through my business page. And I realized it was up to me to take the relationship to the next level, because just connecting isn't enough. And so I thought, well, you know what I should do? I should see how I could serve, share, and support all of these people. Now, let me be super clear. I was inspired by the fabulous Zig Ziglar. As a matter of fact, I saw him speak at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland right around this time, and he said something that really stuck with me. And I'm sure you've all heard this quote a cajillion times. He said, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help other people get what they want. And he's absolutely right. And so I thought, what do people want that I can give them? And obviously, my very first impulse was my marketing services, my marketing coaching services. But I was wrong. The most important, most valuable thing that I can share is actually a renewable resource. And it is it's a referral. It is the most simplest, easiest thing, because the best clients come from referrals. And that was something that I could offer. Now, I had plans to go out and do a lot of networking. And so I thought I would be in the kind of the catbird seat, so to speak. And I would be ready, willing, and able to refer plenty often. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do with these people? And I realized that sending most of them an email might get lost, and it might be perceived as a sales sort of thing. So being the introvert I am, I sat down and I wrote a script, because I was going to pick up the phone, which is kind of scary. Anybody here have any of the phone version? Anybody? Kelly, no, that's not true. Well, you're a very friendly girl, and I'm really surprised to hear that. But I think a lot of people have the phone version, and that's one of the reasons why I Take the Lead works so well, so you don't have to pick up and do some cold calling. But remember, I'd already met these people, so I wasn't actually cold calling. And here's the other thing. I was not calling to sell to them. I was calling to give to them. Yeah, so this is a really important thing. So I wrote up a script. And as you can see right now on the screen, here's my script. It's an old one. And what I did for this script is I explained on the left side what the process is and why I was saying this stuff. Because is anybody here? Well, you probably are. I am not good at just picking up the phone and riffing and just making stuff up. It's just not in my DNA. I need to be prepared. I need to know what I'm going to say. I need to have a good reason why I'm calling. And so, of course, I used my brain and I figured out exactly what I wanted to do and how I could communicate quickly and clearly and gently, because I'm not selling anything. I'm offering something. And so here was the script. And so here it is. And obviously, I mean, I'm sure if everybody doesn't know about this, you can do a quick little screenshot so you can grab the script for yourself. So spoiler cheat. Okay, so what it was is I went through those 63 cards. I would do it differently these days, obviously, but I started with the greeting and identification. I went on to contextualize the relationship so they would know who I was and I wasn't some rando telemarketer. I got permission to talk. I promised brevity. I explained the purpose of my call. I asked for the meeting. And here's the important thing. I asked. I didn't imply. Because a lot of us think asking sounds like, well, gee, it would be really fun to work with you. Well, gee, it would be really great to meet you. And I see a couple of you are laughing. But
And
that's not.
brevity is really important. Remember that word brevity. It's really important.
It is. It is. But also, but I'm asking. And then you want, so after I asked, I clarified my intent for reciprocity. And I've asked them to agree, because if they don't say okay, then it's not on. Then I suggested date, time, place, gave them an alternative and confirmed. And then, of course, I followed up with an email. And so here's what the script sounded like. Hey, Lynn, this is Ronnie Noyes. We met last week at an I Take the Lead meeting, and I got your card when we talked right after the meeting. Is this a good time for a brief chat?
Sure.
Oh, great. Thank you, Lynn. So here's why. I mean, I know you're busy, so I'm going to make this really quick. And here's why I'm calling, Lynn. I have two questions. And the first one is, number one, are you accepting new clients? And second, would you be willing to accept qualified referrals from me?
Absolutely.
Great. I'm glad to hear it, because I think that our businesses are kind of in sync here. So how about we get together so you can teach me exactly how to identify and refer the right prospects to you. And of course, I'm going to share what makes a good referral for me. Does that work for you?
That sounds great. Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. So how about meeting by Zoom so we don't have to travel to that coffee shop? Does that work for you?
Yeah, because it's a long road trip to Iowa.
Yeah, it is. It is. But there's a really great coffee shop here. But anyway, okay. So we'll just do the Zoom thing. And I think that how about if we choose, say, 30 minutes for our meeting so it doesn't go on all day? Does that work?
Perfect. That works great.
Well, fantastic, Lynn. I really appreciate it. So we are on for date, time, place. I'm going to send you a Zoom link, and then I will see you there. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you. Lynn, thank you so much for role playing with that. I know that I surprised you. And so I didn't mean
I'm a guy, so that's a reach for me.
Okay. So did it feel like I was trying to sell to you?
No. Felt like you were trying to connect with me and get to know what I'm doing and let me know what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, good. So here is my basic script. And as you could hear, as everyone could hear, Lynn responded really well, and he doesn't have a script, so he just responded naturally. Luckily, I've done this enough times. And also I thought about it hard enough before I put the script together. So I had an idea what people were going to respond, and I guided the conversation to achieve my goal, which is to set up a meeting. So any questions about the script?
Let's see, I'm gonna see if you do, everybody should be muted. If you have a question, just unmute yourself and holler out. We'll give it a second because there's a little time delay.
Yes. And so while the questions are spooling up, any questions, then I am going to talk about what the meetings actually look like. So the way that I put these meetings together was that I was going to meet people at a coffee shop. Now, these days, of course, I'm meeting people by Zoom. But at the coffee shop, it was easy. I would just go a little bit early so that I could find a table so the person who was meeting me would have a place to sit down. So I would be there and I would have my stuff. And as a matter of fact, I would also get myself a cup of coffee. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but in that script, I didn't ask for people to meet me for a cup of coffee. And the problem I find with these coffee meetings is that when you are meeting to eat or drink, then the meeting becomes social and it can be extremely confusing for people. And even though, I mean, good heavens, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but even though I was really clear, at least to me, that this is business. I mean, not everybody recognized that this is a business meeting, and especially when you're talking to someone who may have some sort of romantic interest in you. Now, this isn't on a slide. I'm just going to tell you a story, and Becky knows this story very well. When I first started this, and it was many years ago, I was working out of a home office, kind of like I am now. And so I called someone that I had met, from the stack of 63 cards. And we went through this whole thing. He's like, yeah, this will be cool. He came over at 10 in the morning. Knock, knock, knock. I opened the door. The dude is standing there holding like a baby. You know what's coming, Becky. A glass of wine. Now, that's a little bit of a mixed message at 10 a.m. And so we need to be extremely clear about our agenda. And I find that meeting in a third-party neutral public place, such as a coffee shop, is great. Even better, though, these days is on Zoom, because you can do a lot of meetings without the travel time and without getting caught in traffic or getting caught in a meeting that you can't seem to get out of. And so anyway, so I set up these meetings. Actually, so the first few meetings were a little bit of a disaster. So when I'm telling you about all of this stuff, it sounds like, oh, I did everything right and it was all perfect right from the beginning. Yeah, not so much. I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned from all of my mistakes. I actually learned pretty quickly, and as you will too. But since I've made the mistakes, you don't have to. So here's what happened at the meetings. I would take my little networking system note sheet because I needed something to be able to write down. I wanted something to do during the meeting because it isn't just a free form conversation. I had some really specific questions about who should I refer and when and what did I need to know. So I created, again, because introvert, I like to have as much control as possible. I created a little note sheet, and this, as a matter of fact, is absolutely free to you. You can get it on my website, DIYmarketingcenter.com. It's right at the bottom of this slide. And if you go to free stuff, networking tools, you'll be able to get this. What I really like about this is that it provided pretty much a de facto script for our meeting so that you don't get caught in the long conversation about spouses and kids and restaurants and blah, 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 because that can burn up a lot of time. And then you feel sort of weird, like, how do I get this meeting back on track? So yes, has that ever happened to you, Lynn?
Yes, it reminds me of, you can always see when a pastor loses control of a children's sermon. It's hard to rein it back in. So you got to be on track and know what you're going to say, and don't ask too many free-form questions. Be really specific.
Exactly. Well, and what's really cool is when you have this document, you can be referring to it. And so what I would do, the thing that I said is, do you mind if I take notes? And I showed them my pen and I showed them my notes, and they'd be like, oh no. And they were interested, you go ahead. They wanted to know what's on the sheet. Oh, this is really cool. And it allowed me to guide the conversation and build the relationship in a professional way. So I would fill out the top, which is the date, time, place. I used to carry a little teeny stapler with me, so I would staple their business card, or sometimes just paper clip it. And then I would start going through this sheet, and it gave me something to do, which was fantastic, because I was able to extract all of the information I needed to be able to refer with confidence. Now, this took about, I want to say 20 to 24 minutes, because most people had to think about their answers. They were not sure what business category they were in. They were not sure what they did. because I get a lot of, I do anything my clients want.
Yeah.
They were not sure who a great referral would be. It's like, oh, someone who's a good person and has a credit card. So it took a while to be able to get really good at pulling this information out, but I was able to do it. And then at the end, it was time for us to switch. And since I had been doing this, they'd watched me take notes, which was really great for me because now I had something to add to my CRM, my client relationship management tool, because it's not just for clients, it's also for your power partners. It's also for your vendors or other people that you just happen to meet. And it's really nice to have that information in one place. So I take this, put this information together, and then I would hand them a blank sheet and say, would you like to use this? And so that way they got the sheet that I have been using, which was very cool because it allowed them to focus their ideas, their thoughts, and their questions. And of course, I would always ask, would you like to use my pen? Now, I just don't happen to have it right now, but I have DIY Marketing Center pens. And I really love taking those because A, they're sparkly and pretty, and B, they're purple, and C, it allows me to help convey the expectation that these people are going to take notes. Because even if they take notes but throw them away, what's happened is that they have learned this information about you and about your business. And so they are able to refer. And I have just realized something, Becky. I have the wrong slideshow here. So sorry about that. Alan's laughing at me. He's like, yeah, this is the old one, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm missing a few things. So let me explain to you a little bit about what it is that some of these questions. And one of the things that I use is, and this is actually how I created my networking, what do you call it? My networking introduction. I created it from these meetings and it works extremely well. This is also available for free at DIY Marketing Center, free stuff. You can just download it. There is no opt-in or anything. It is there for you. But essentially, I think I mentioned to you 20, 25 minutes we're in this meeting, and then we've only got 4 or 5 minutes to go. And the person looks at their watch, or I do, like, okay, we really need to move this along. And I would say, so if you want to use my pen for that expectation, and I know the questions you're going to ask me. So in the interest of time, shall I just do this? And so absolutely. So I would say my business category is marketing coaching. And what do? I help small businesses attract more clients. And who's a great referral for me? Well, a great referral for me is a small office, home office entrepreneur. It can be like a Mary Kay lady. It can be a coach or a financial advisor. Then when to refer? Well, you'll know it's time to refer when you hear one of two things. Number one, I love what I do, but I hate marketing. Or this economy is killing my business. When you hear either of those things, then you know for sure that this person would be a good referral for me. And the best way to refer is to introduce us by email, and I will take it from there. Now, here's what I discovered. I used to have people just go to my website. So this is a lesson learned along the way. But when someone took the trouble to make an introduction by email, then we were actually able to connect. And so that's why I built it into my presentation, my questions, and my answers, so that people would introduce us by email, because that is how I would know that someone A had actually referred to me, and B, there was someone I should be talking to. And that way I had someone to follow up with. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about results. So I started meeting a couple of different places, World Cup Coffee over on Gleason and 16th and Northwest, the old Starbucks that used to be on, what was it, 18th and Hawthorne, and then a couple of other places. And I did meetings because I had no business. I had nothing to do. I mean, I worked on the website in the morning, did 3 to 4 meetings in the afternoons. So that was a lot of meetings, and I put about an hour for each meeting. So after 2 weeks, I had done about 24 meetings, and my results, nothing. So yay, what a great strategy. And so I asked myself, what am I doing wrong? I'm smart. I'm a marketer. I should do better than this. And so one of my strategies for figuring out where is the problem is to go through all of the steps, the flywheel, if you will, because I'm looking for the place where the gears are just not working, where they're stuck. And so that's what I did. I connected with people at meetings, or you can connect with people through social media, as Lynn suggested. I set up the one-on-one meetings to teach each other how to recognize and refer qualified prospects. And then what happened? And then what happened? And then what happened? What was my step 3? I didn't have an end game here. But what it should have been, was the thing that I was offering in the first place, which was referrals. And since I was meeting a lot of people, I made it my business to introduce people. And not every introduction was a great one, but what it showed these potential power partners that I was working with is that I was on it, I was good for my word, and that I was doing something to help them build their business because I appreciated their help building my business. So let me talk about these introductions by email and how they work. So what I would do is I would send an email to both people. It's Becky, meet Lynn. I would introduce my referral partner as the expert. I would introduce the person I'm referring as a person as having questions. I would include the contact information for both, and I would leave the follow-up in their capable hands. I didn't need to be involved in this. And what's really cool about this is that all of a sudden, so Becky knows, I said this for the referral, and Becky, I've done this for you.
Yes, you have several times.
Yeah, so you know that I'm referring to you, and the other person knows I'm good for my word, and so I've done them a favor as well. And what's really sort of exciting is that both people thought I was awesome. Both people then had good feelings about me and believed me when I said I was willing to help them build their business because I was actually doing the referrals. And it was a really powerful thing. Now, the introduction by email that I have, it's just a quick little template, and that is available to DIY members. DIY membership is only $10 a month. Got a couple of members on the call, 2 or 3, and it's we've got a ton of stuff. Obviously, you can think of a good email to send yourself. I really like mine, but you can just make one up for yourself. Remember, you're not selling to either of these people. You are setting up another relationship. Okay, so let's talk about my results. I did this for 6 weeks. I had over 70 meetings. I had nothing else to do. So why wouldn't I do this? I gave over 75 referrals. I received about 48 referrals, and I ended up with 29 new clients after 6 weeks. Now, when the average client at that point was worth about $325 a month, that was a darn good return on my time and investment. And even if they hadn't been worth that much, it would still be a darn good return on my time and investment. And what it did is it got me out in the community, which I had never done really before. I mean, just kind of here and there, never really made a splash. But then it gave me something to talk about, being interested in referring business to other people to help not only the person who was looking for help, but the person who was offering the help. I could help them without an expectation of reward and barely even acknowledgement, but I could help other people build their businesses, and in turn, many people help me build mine. So this is a good place to have some questions. And I just want to say, who here wants 29 new clients in the next 6 weeks? Yeah. Alan's like, I want them.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Lynn's like, I could use them. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to throw out too, what's nice now is you don't have those business cards because nobody's been out meeting in person. So some of them may have aged out. But if you go into LinkedIn, you're going to find that somebody that you might not have had anything, a good connection with 10 years ago, has changed careers twice. So maybe now they're in a wheelhouse where you can actually help them. So you'll be surprised at some of the changes that have happened to businesses over the years.
Exactly. And Lynn, you're absolutely right. Since we're not going out and meeting people live these days, LinkedIn is the perfect place to review our connections. And so here is what I would do. If I'm going to start this over again and use LinkedIn and make this entire process virtual, which it is perfect for virtual, what I would do is reach out on LinkedIn to people, but not just randos and anybody. I would reach out to people who also serve my exact same client. Now, for me, that's people like networking meetings. It's people like bookkeeping. It's people like credit card services, graphic design, websites, SEO. It's a lot of people, bookkeepers, did I say that already? A lot of people who support the small business owner because that is my client. Those are the people that I look to for referrals and that I always need to refer myself. And especially, things like some social media people and writers and editors and photographers and people of that nature. And it's so cool to be able to refer, to make one person's day, say, oh, I heard you were gonna, you were talking about, wanting to have a great new photo. Let me refer you to a couple of photographers that I know and have used myself. So fabulous. And the person thinks, wow, Ronnie loves me. She's so cool. And you can have that experience yourself. So let's review the process a little bit. And if there are any questions, please do just unmute yourself. I don't have the chat open, so I might not see it in the chat, but you can, just unmute yourself and start talking. So the process is either networking or leads meetings or something, some social media, particularly a business social media like LinkedIn or your Facebook business page. And what would be really great, but not like your mom, because she likes it because she wants you to have it. But people of that nature. And what you want to do is have what I call these power partner one-on-one meetings, because these are referral meetings. How can we help each other build our business? We can do it very easily through referrals. And not only can we help each other, we can help everybody within the sound of our voice, everybody we meet, because virtually everybody out there needs something. And and if we can give them some suggestions, we don't sell it, but we know a guy who can help or know a gal who's great at this. Just think what good feelings are generated by that sort of offer to help. So we have these meetings, we do the referral by email. So it is very easy to keep track, because one of the worst things, there are many bad things in the world and networking isn't in the bad category. But like I tell you, what is a pet peeve of mine is people who receive a referral by email from me with the name and contact information and the reason why I referred so-and-so to this person, yet that email gets ignored. It's frustrating and it's annoying. And so I would strongly recommend that if someone sends you a referral email that you respond, not only to the person who sent it, with a quick thank you, I'll do my best not to embarrass you. And then to the person who is looking for help and say, yeah, can we have a conversation? Becky says that you're looking for X, and I may be able to help. And if not, I promise I'll send you to someone who can. So there's that. So that's the referral by email. And then finally, staying in touch, because you don't want to forget your referral power partners. And as a matter of fact, this is the beautiful thing about referrals, because it's not just a one and done sale. It's people who can be referring over and over and over again. And so this is why it's so much smarter when you go to a networking meeting, is that you focus first on potential power partners, or so number one, your power partners, number two, your peers, people who do the same thing that you do, so that you have people to refer to. And then you can start looking for prospects. But if you focus just on prospects and they don't want to buy, and I got to tell you, the numbers are against you. So that the deal is, we all agreed at the beginning of this discussion that we don't go to a networking meeting with the intent to buy something. We go there to meet people and raise our visibility, make connections and things of that nature. We don't go there to buy. And so if we just focus on selling, then we realize very quickly, I've met everybody in the meeting, nobody bought from me, there's no reason for me to go back. And that just is so foolish and short-sighted, because the purpose of networking is referrals, is to give each other that sort of support. Because in the course of our business, we run across people who need stuff, and we become a center of influence. We become, the person in the know, the super connected person, when we are able to connect our clients, our colleagues, our neighbors, even the random people that we happen to meet, at say a chamber meeting or whatever. If we can connect them with someone that we know that can really help them, they're going to think really good thoughts about us. everybody wins with this. So let me talk to you a little bit about some of the lessons I learned when I was out there in the wilds of the small business community. I learned a lot. For an introvert like me, this was a difficult process, but I did it because I didn't have anything else to do. And I really had no other options. But the first thing I learned to do, which is something I would focus on as well, even if I were doing this virtually now and stacking up those meetings, I would totally drink decaf. And the reason is when you drink a lot of coffee, especially when you're going to, if you're at a coffee shop or even between a lot of meetings, you may have to go for a lot of breaks. Or if you're like me and caffeine sensitive, you might get just a little bit crazy. Or maybe not crazy, maybe overly enthusiastic. Yeah, that'll be great.
Well,
And
she had a lot of ideas, but she spoke so quickly.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, she spoke so quickly. I was afraid. So I would suggest that you really moderate whatever it is. And the other thing I would suggest is do not eat anything. The problem with Americans eating while networking is unless it's like unless it's a meal, like you're networking over lunch and everybody goes there. When you're doing the one-on-ones, then breaking bread together is really helpful for creating a relationship, but it's for creating a personal relationship when it's one-on-one. So I would recommend just really sticking to coffee if you're going to be meeting out. And that's probably not going to be an issue when you are meeting virtually.
Yeah.
So the first thing, drink decaf. The second thing is to be prepared. Be prepared with your, with your script to make a phone call, with an email to follow up with the Zoom link, with your, with your little note sheet. And as a matter of fact, you can email or even add in the chat the note sheet to give to the other person. Yeah. And spoiler alert, you don't have to write with a pen. You can actually type using some of these online PDF fillers, and they're free. So like Small PDF and a whole bunch of others are really great so that everybody can take notes, because the important thing here is that the people listen to and process the information of yours that they're writing down, and that you do the same for them so that you can remember. Because no matter how great a memory you have, you probably will not remember all the details of all the people that you are going to meet. Okay, so, and finally, follow the process. So when you think about what it is you want to do, so how are you going to build your referral mechanism through networking? So then you make a to-do list. You're going to be going to I Take the Lead meetings. You're going to be reaching out to people on LinkedIn. And then there is the doing, but you do it with purpose, with preparation, and you do it correctly. Because you know what? I think I Take the Lead is absolutely great. But if you just show up week after week and you don't have a great way to introduce yourself, you don't bother to get to know other people, you don't bother to respond to the referrals that you get, you're going to think that I Take the Lead isn't working for you. And it absolutely can. I mean, I got to tell you, whenever I go to an I Take the Lead meeting, I walk away with clients. And so it's or at least the promise of a client coming soon, or with a referral partner. So, but it really depends on you. You've got to do the work, and it's not that hard. And luckily, I've got it all figured out for you. Okie dokie. So I have been talking for 40 minutes straight, Becky.
Wow.
Wow. So who has a question?
Yeah.
I don't have a question, but can I interject something really quick?
Ellen, do it.
Nicole mentioned something really, really good earlier in your presentation about digital business card or virtual business card. And you gave a webinar, I believe it was either last month or the month before, and it actually prompted me to restart a digital business card as well. And that's been huge. A lot of digital business cards come with a CRM where you can track who clicks on it. You have to actually capture their information, which then allows you to be a little more proactive with following up with that person. So I definitely recommend a digital business card, especially, in the age of meeting via Zoom and whatnot.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Mine has a whole back office to it. It's not just a CRM. It has you can have people opt in for text for certain things. You can create certain campaigns to text them. And you
Oh,
can
yeah.
also have, like, I can be at an event or I'm speaking. I can
Mhm.
say, text Nicole to 858 to whatever, 283-5990, and it will automatically send me their information. So
Fabulous.
there's some smart ones out there where you can just
Yes.
do that while you're on there, or you can just send it to them. You can text them your virtual card.
Absolutely. Excellent ideas. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole.
Mhm.
And who else was, oh, Alan, fabulous.
Ronnie, I had a question. I know LinkedIn, but also more and more people are hopping on Alignable. Have you tried to use that to meet with people as well? Yeah.
I have, and as a matter of fact, thank you for the reminder of that. Alignable is how I think I am going to enter the Des Moines, Iowa business community. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to that, because it's great to see who's there, and this whole process is very easily translated to pretty much any platform, because I can just reach out virtually to all of these people. So yes on Alignable.
Nextdoor.com is another good one too that I've had some pretty decent luck with getting out to local businesses.
Oh, really? So I'm on Nextdoor, but mainly I have been using it to get to know my new neighborhood. Like,
Neighbors,
who's
yeah.
a good dry
Yeah.
cleaner and what's a good restaurant? What should we be looking out for?
I was on Nextdoor to return a cat we found.
Exactly.
For that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ronnie, I've got something, Ronnie.
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you for every time I listen to you or different presentation, I always come away with one really solid gold nugget.
Yay.
And the first time was the killer elevator speech. And this time what I learned was, so I'm a loan officer and I have my ideal clients that I say, but beyond that, what you said was, I'm going to say things like, so if you hear in conversation with someone, they want to buy a house, but they're struggling with X,
Mhm.
That's a clue, because I think I have people running all around town for me, hopefully, like waiting for someone to say, oh, I wish I could get a loan. That's a little too specific.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if everybody had a little sign?
Exactly. Exactly. With arrows pointing to me. So thank you for that, because I just, I go to these things because I'm looking for something actionable, and you're really good at delivering them. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Kelly. Now, speaking of delivering, let me talk to you a little bit about some of the tools that I mentioned. I talked about my networking introduction, and that is available for free, no opt-in. Just you can download it like a ghost right there at the DIY Marketing Center Networking Tools. That's for you. The other thing is my note sheet that I showed you early on. Let me just see if I can pop up the little picture. So that's available. You can download that thing as well at the networking tools. And then the last thing, that email introduction, well, that's a benefit of membership. I mean, the good thing though about membership is only $10 a month, and you get hundreds of tools, videos, all sorts of things designed to make your marketing as a solopreneur easier. And also right now, I just wanted to mention, if you don't mind, Becky,
No.
we talked in, I think it was January, about my networking strategy cheat sheet. You can absolutely download that. It's for free on my website. And I've got another profitable marketing machine workshop, which is sort of a fun way to put together a marketing plan that you can actually works, and that you can monitor. You can see what's working and when and how. It's only ultimately it could be one page. I like to expand it out to 4 pages because I'm wild that way.
Yeah.
But that is coming up, and that's 100% free for members of the DIY Marketing Center. So I just thought I would mention that. Okay, so that's everything that I have to say. Any other questions? So if nobody has a question, then I have one.
Okay.
And my question for all of you is, what is it that you were taking away? Kelly just gave us a very charming little comment about she's taking stuff away, which is actionable, which is fantastic. But I'd like to hear from everybody who's here. What is it? What is that nugget? And what is it you're going to do next?
Ronnie,
Yes.
I will say, even thinking about this, talking about the webinar with Becky before it, the thing I was thinking of immediately and take away is this is an opportunity to rethink your networking strategy because it is different. It's going to be different. A lot of us aren't going to go out in person until we're vaccinated and immune. We're going to be careful, but everything's changed. So you have to say, how do I take advantage of that? And if you're looking at LinkedIn and expanding your network, you can work in a lot of places maybe you weren't before. You're always thinking, what's my area? And we can all expand our markets just because we're doing this digitally. So there's some positives as the economy starts coming back. So it's a great reminder of how to move forward.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. Absolutely, I agree. This is such a wonderful process. Even if if you have to work from home, this will get you connected and networking in a way that is profitable not only to you, and not only to the partners, people you're networking with, but also to their market, to that hungry market that you can help serve, and you can help make someone's day just a little bit brighter. So who else has what I like to call a sparkle? What is it that you're taking away?
So,
yes, Amy.
Yeah, I'm new here, and yeah, thank you very much for this perfectly put together presentation. For me, it's the note-taking part that's really, it saves time, it puts everybody on focus, and next thing to do, sign up.
Oh, yay. Yay.
Absolutely. Where are you at, Amy?
Arizona.
Arizona. Good. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. So is anybody from Arizona too?
I don't know. We have several meetups all over. So yeah, we're based out of Portland. Ronnie used to be here, out of Portland and Seattle and Denver as well. So I'm glad you're here.
So who else? No, thank you, Amy. Who else has a sparkle or a something to say? The nugget. Go ahead, Lori.
Ronnie, I just wanted to say thank you. I really love the way you put it all together in a nice, neat package. I also love the idea of doing the questionnaire as a PDF because, oh my gosh, we can become so quickly overwhelmed with papers and just this and that. So I love that concept. I've done this in the past, not as a nice, neat package as you have done, but I'm curious, how many referrals do you like to give to an individual? I mean, obviously you want to give as many as you can, but that's not...
No, I don't, Lori. So I want to give as many referrals to as many people, but not too many referrals to one person. Okay. Here's what I found out. I used to give like 2 or 3, and now I use my best judgment to introduce them to the one person that I know can really help them. And the reason I do that is that it's too easy for them to say, oh, I got to think about who's right for me and not take action. And part of my service, you might say, in supporting them and introducing them to someone who can help them is by actually figuring out a good person. Sometimes it's the only person I know. So, but sometimes, you know, if I've got several people, like for example, I know hundreds of coaches. And so I usually think of like, who's a good coach for this person and for this person's needs. And so now I just refer to one person. So
that's really helpful.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Lori. Who else?
Well, I want to thank Tyler before I forget. I didn't start recording at the very beginning and Tyler reminded me. So thank you.
Thank you.
But
Tyler.
it was just
My
a
pleasure.
couple minutes in.
Tyler's very good with the electronic stuff.
That is what I try to do. Yes.
And Becky's working on a Rascal flip phone, so it's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've just got a couple more minutes here. before we wrap it up, and I know you've got some things you want to say, but I really would like to hear from a couple more people
Yeah.
about what the value is of our time together. You know, what did you learn? What are you going to do next to apply these ideas, this strategy to your business? And so you don't have to say, Ronnie, you're fabulous. You know, what I want to know is how you have been helped by showing up here.
I guess I could chime in on that.
Thank you, Tyler.
Well, it wasn't exactly anything you said in particular, but I think my takeaway from the story you told is really that, I guess in a sentence, I would say success is only like a little bit of effort away. It's closer than I thought it was, I guess. And that's actually something I'm learning a lot lately.
That's a wonderful thing to learn, isn't it?
Yeah. And it really, like, it's not as, it can seem daunting and big, but it's actually not as far away as it feels if you just reach out for it. You know what I mean? And hearing your story in how you fast you're able to grow is inspiring in that sense, that helps other business owners like me know we can do this too, you know?
You absolutely can. Thank you, Tyler. Hey, Becky, can I have a program coming up next month. So in May, on the, I think I want to say the third Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, so it doesn't interfere with any I Take the Lead meetings, I am doing a free webinar on how to maximize your power partner panels.
Oh,
and so how
really?
to, how to get a group of people together so you have that help each other build their business and do group cooperative referrals. I've got some great ideas and some really specific ways that you have as few hardcore referral partners, power partners as possible, and get the absolute maximum benefit. And so that is next month, and that will be on my website. You know, I actually thought it was here on my website this morning, and I guess it's not. So sorry. I'll make sure that it gets up.
And it's open to the public?
Yes, it is. It's 100% free and open to the public.
Oh, very good.
Live to serve. And I see that Sandy has posted in the chat. She said her takeaway is the script that makes it feel fun and easy, not pushy. Thank you, Sandy. That is exactly what we're going for. And so you're welcome. She says, thank you for sharing. You are so welcome, Lisa. Lisa, in your absolutely gorgeous room and your lovely hair, you've got you're off mute. Do you want to say something before we wrap it up?
Well, what I was going to actually just say here is that I popped on today to re-listen to this talk because I've heard it a few times throughout the years.
That's
but
true.
but with the timing, actually within my group, we have a few newer members and people who are newer to networking, and I was receiving some feedback that they're coming to the meetings and are coming to one-on-one meetings and pushing the sale. And so it was a request came into me of, hey, you know, at our open meeting, can we do a kind of a training on how Ronnie does her one-on-ones? And I was like, hey, you know what? The timing is perfect. Ronnie's doing her webinar here. And so I came on to kind of refresh so I can actually help spread the education for the people who just for whatever reason won't or cannot attend on the live training from you. So, you know, that's what I'm doing here is you know, refreshing the brain, and we're going to be sharing the wealth next week at our open meeting. So
Oh, very
Lisa,
cool.
that's fabulous. I'm so delighted to hear that.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying, of course, I didn't have any idea what you were going to be sharing in addition to what you have in the past, but I had the feeling that you would tweak it for virtual networking, which you did. And I loved the idea of the LinkedIn and the Alignable for those of us who are on that as well, to be reaching out and doing, you know, networking. So, and using your whole system, I hadn't thought of that. So thank you very much. That was huge for me.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're worried about getting stuck on long Zoom calls with people, if you're initiating it, you can always just pretend you have the free version instead of the professional. And according to, oh, I'm sorry, we're about to be disconnected and hit live meeting, it's done.
Yeah.
You know, so all jokes aside, that's one of the important reasons to use the script to establish the expectations of how
Yeah.
long the meeting's going to be, what you're going to talk about, and all of
Yeah.
that. And then, of course, you can reiterate that in a follow-up email. But
Yeah.
having a shared understanding of the expectations really makes things easier, so that people realize this is not a sales opportunity. I'm not going to listen to a pitch or give
Yeah.
one.
Yep, forces
It's-
professionalism.
Exactly.
And
Forces
it saves you batteries on your egg timer.
Yes, exactly. You know, or your phone timer. I use my phone timer every single day. And I let people know that I'm going to be using it because they're so fascinating that I will be completely wrapped up in what they're saying, and I'll let the time get away from me. So I'll just use a timer.
Yeah.
And so far, nobody has ever objected. And most people are, you know, kind of fascinating.
What alarm do you have that goes off when they're done? That could be fun.
So I used to have one that was really annoying, but now I'm just using the one that's on my phone, the little alarm, because I thought it was really cute and funny. And I also used to have one that was from South Park. It was Timmy. And so it's like, Timmy! And then I realized, A, not everyone was familiar with South Park. B,
Yeah.
everybody appreciated South Park and thought I was crazy. So now I just have this like little bell.
That's funny. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Ronnie. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to thank Ronnie for or share real quick before, or I'll just let Ronnie end it. But I just want to make sure you know how appreciative we are.
Oh, thank you, Becky. So here's the one thing that I want to say. This is something that's really been on my mind lately. And I'm talking to you, the person that I'm looking at right now. And that what I want to tell you is this: there are some people out there who are praying for you. They want your expertise, they want your help, they want your products, your services, your experience, because whatever it is that you have is going to make their lives better, easier, happier. But the problem is they might not even know that you exist. So I encourage you to do everything you can to use these strategies we discussed today to send your message of hope and support and service out into the world through your networking partners, so that you can bring ease, comfort, wealth, health, whatever it is that you're offering, to as many people as possible. Because isn't that why you're a business? I know that's why I am. So thank you. Please use these strategies and grab my free tools, my friends.
Thank you
You're
so
making
much.
the world, I just want to say, you're making the world a better place,
Yeah.
babe. Do it.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Well, thanks. I will be sending out a replay to everyone later or tomorrow morning. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. Nice seeing you all. Nice meeting you. So,
Becky, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Very good.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Everybody, see you.
Bye-bye.